We're on the road. Where transportation goes, community grows. Welcome to On the Road with the MTA. And welcome to another edition of On the Road with the MTA. I'm Jay Gibbons alongside with Stephanie Kay from the MTA. How's Stephanie sitting over there?
I am great, Jay. You know I'm always out and about, and I love going to the chamber events and the Rotaries. You meet such wonderful people.
Yes.
I had gone to the Flint and Genesee Chamber, I think it was last week, and I met some wonderful people that do great things for the children in the community that might have autism or special needs.
Yep.
And I did meet somebody. Her name is Melissa Sirkovic, and she is our guest on today, and she is actually the assistant professor of special education at U of M.
Ooh,
and yes. And they have such great events going on. There's something coming up in Halloween that I can't wait to have her back to talk about that. It's just for children with the special needs, and it's all
cool.
free. I love it. But right now we're going to talk about something coming up on Saturday, April 26th from 1 to 3 at the University of Michigan Flint's Lot S. It's Officer Friendly Day. Now, Melissa, thank you for joining us today and tell us what this Officer Friendly Day is all about.
And well, thank you so much for having me. So Officer Friendly Day is a free family event that we created to celebrate autism and build positive relationships between individuals on the spectrum and their families and law enforcement officers.
I'm so glad to hear that because I have a friend and she has a step grandson. And he's a big kid. He's young, but he's big. He's like 6'4".
Wow.
You know, he's very big. And he has autism. And he was in a slight car accident when he first started learning how to drive. And the police officer came up and said, Sir, son, are you on something? Because he didn't want to make eye contact. He kept looking down. He had a hood over his head because he was awkward. He was scared. He was awkward. But the police officer can misjudge that for somebody who might be hiding something. And yet, when the father got there, he said he has autism. They said, we thought maybe towards the end that's what was happening. So the officers are trying to recognize that. But you can probably help us, too, on what people can do to associate with that and to make things better, right? Is this what education?
Yes, absolutely. So many times an interaction between an autistic individual and a law enforcement officer can be more complex because of the way that individuals on the spectrum communicate and perceive communication. Sometimes it's like two people speaking different languages. So the officer doesn't quite understand what the autistic individual is saying, and the autistic individual doesn't quite understand what the officer is saying or have time to process what the officer is saying in the amount of time that the officer says the command. So like you said with your friend's grandson, when they're given that command and, say, give me your license, registration, and proof of insurance, it's really 3 commands at one time. And it can take some time for an autistic individual to really process and be able to respond in a way that is efficient.
Yeah, so this is what Officer Friendly Day is really all about. It's about building mutual respect and understanding between law enforcement officers and autistic individuals and their families. What we see is that oftentimes interactions between autistic individuals and law enforcement officers are more complex. And it's likely because, one of the defining features of autism is deficits in social interaction and communication. And so sometimes when a law enforcement officer and an autistic individual are having an interaction, it's difficult for the officer to understand the autistic individual. And likewise, it can be difficult for the autistic individual to understand the law enforcement officer. So in the situation that you shared, Stephanie, getting the command of, please give me your license, registration, and proof of insurance, that's 3 commands all at once. And sometimes it takes autistic individuals 15 seconds longer to process information.
Well, yeah.
And and getting pulled over by an officer is stressful for anybody.
That's what I was going to say. Even not being autistic, it's like, okay, what'd you need? Okay, here's my driver's. What else is it? Because you get so nervous. Yeah. So I was thinking about, during Halloween, sometimes they'll say if a young child doesn't say trick or treat or thank you, people think, well, they're being rude. But they gave them little blue pumpkins so they would know my child has autism. So you knew that's why they're not talking. Why couldn't they do something much like the medical alert bracelets for autistic adults and children to give them like a little blue bracelet, those little stretchy ones to wear that says, I have autism. That way, if a police officer stops them, they can show them their wrist to know, show them I'm autistic. And that might help.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. And actually, at Officer Friendly Day, we do pass out some information like that. So, one thing that we have at Officer Friendly Day is a simulated pullover experience. So if you drive and you're on the spectrum, you can practice getting pulled over, practice what you'll say. And anyone that does that experience, we give them this little insurance folder. It's small. And we tell them, in this folder, put your license, your proof of insurance, your registration, and your autism disclosure card. And we pass those out at Officer Friendly Day as well. And that way, when you do get pulled over, all you have to remember is hand the officer this small folder. We say, put it right on your console so you have it. And all you have to do is remember to hand that over, and it has all the information that the officer needs. Also, in the state of Michigan, actually, people who have a communication disorder, including autism, can go to the Secretary of State, and it can be noted on their license. So when the officer runs their license, that can come up in the system.
Well, that's a great idea. And this is a wonderful event. Is it the first time you've done this Officer Friendly Day?
It's actually our 4th year hosting Officer Friendly Day.
Really? Never heard of it. Had you heard of it, Jay?
Nope.
But it's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
And it's totally free. How do you pay for that? I mean, that's a lot of expense on your end.
It is a lot of expenses, but you know what? It is completely free, and we've been really fortunate to have a great community sponsor. Security Credit Union has been a continuous sponsor of Officer Friendly Day, as well as some departments within the University of Michigan-Flint, the Department of Public Safety, the Education Department, the College of Arts, Sciences, and Education, K-12 partnerships, and Wolverine Hope have all been really great sponsors and have financially supported Officer Friendly Day this year.
Well, I love how you can have hands-on activities like, practice getting stopped by a police officer, to how to talk to someone. And you also have food, police vehicle tours, you have a mock pullover, which I just talked about, and the VR stimulated, what is that, the VR simulated police interactions? Is that when they get pulled over?
Yeah, so this is new this year. So, of course, there's going to be lots of different police officers from various agencies, and they really are excited to have the opportunity to connect with our community members on the spectrum and their families. But sometimes someone might not be ready to sit down and chat with a police officer, but they want to practice. What will happen if a police officer stops and asks me a question? How will I respond? How will I feel in that situation? And so we've been working with Florio, which is a virtual reality company, learning software. And they have a bunch of learning modules, including how to interact with the police, but also how to cross the street safely, safety around pools, because we know that autistic individuals often wander from a safe space and they are attracted to bodies of water. So teaching individuals how to be safe around bodies of water is really important. So our community members that want to try out some virtual reality, they can give that a try at Officer Friendly Day. And we also have a bunch of other things too, like crafts. We have story time with an officer. We have, bubbles and blocks to build with. So we have games and lawn games and board games. So there's really something for everyone. And the event's really geared for children, adolescents, and adults on the spectrum.
I was going to say, is there an age range for this? Because it sounds like anybody could benefit from this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have enough activities that it doesn't matter what you age are. I'll say that again. I think we have enough activities that doesn't matter how old you are, that you will have fun at Officer Friendly Day and hopefully learn something new to keep yourself safe or to keep your loved ones safe.
Yeah, even though I don't have a child or a grandchild that has autism, I would like to go out there and learn how to communicate with somebody who I might run across that does need help or that does need to communicate with us. So that's kind of nice to know. Or if I see maybe a police officer talking to someone, I can say, excuse me, maybe they have autism and can we talk to them? So that could be, I know it's Saturday, April 26th from 1 until 3, no cost whatsoever. And is there a good place to park?
Yes, right in front of the event, actually, in the White Building parking lot. I think the event's on the University of Michigan-Flint campus, and sometimes campuses are hard to navigate. So the easiest way to probably get there is to plug in the address to the Family Dollar, which is at 877 East 5th Avenue, and then just look right across the street. You'll see a big white tent right on our campus, and we'll be there, and you can park right in front of the event.
Well, that's a great word of advice. She asked at the dollar store, and then go and get something for the dollar store, too, when you're right there. I see they have a dog on the flyer. Will there be a police dog there as well?
You know what? We are not going to have police dogs at Officer Friendly Day this year, just in an effort to kind of respect people who might be a little afraid of dogs.
Sure.
So we won't have them there this year at Officer Friendly Day, but maybe something to consider for the future.
But that might actually help somebody else say, okay, I can go now. Maybe their child's afraid of the dog or allergic to it. So that's good to know that it's not going to be there. So those that can't come because of that can now attend.
Yep, exactly. And we do have a website. If people are interested in coming, they can go on and RSVP. And actually, the website has some really great safety-related information. So some of the officers at the University of Michigan Flint Department of Public Safety created a really great video of an autistic individual getting pulled over. And so if you drive and you're on the spectrum, or even if you aren't on the spectrum and you're really not sure what to expect if you get pulled over, it's a great video to watch. And we also have a video on there. So if you have a passenger that's on the spectrum and you want to prepare them for what it might be like if you get pulled over, what the officer might say or do. So that is at go.umflint.edu/Officer Friendly Day 2025.
This is a great event. I'm so glad that I ran into you at that chamber event and that we learned about this.
Oh.
Now, are you still taking like sponsorships if somebody wants to help out financially or maybe bring candy or do something to help you?
We are always accepting sponsorships for Officer Friendly Day for all of our inclusive events. I think this year we are probably okay, but for next year, it is never too early to start getting some external sponsors, and we really appreciate our community members and supporting these events that really do help increase the safety of our community.
Well, I was thinking you might have some other agencies that deal with this or have help with the autism need, and they might want to bring out a table as well or set up a game or do something. So give us that information one more time, how they can get a hold of you, the website or the phone number. How is the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure, absolutely. The best way to get a hold of me if you're interested in sponsoring the event or want to table at the event would be my email. It is M as in Melissa, SRECK@UNICH.edu.
Okay, it's University of Michigan Education.
That's
so
right.
You can't forget that. Well, Melissa, I know you have something else coming up too that we're not going to go into too much detail now, but in October, you're going to be doing something called the Inclusive Halloween, and that's just for children that have autism, and that's all free as well, right?
Yep, and actually Inclusive Halloween, we designed that event for individuals with all disabilities in mind to make sure that it's completely accessible, but we invite individuals with and without disabilities, families, friends, allies. And so that is a big bash, and it's happening on October 24th. It always happens the Friday before Halloween. And we're already planning for that event. That's another really fun, inclusive event that we have at the University of Michigan.
Well, you sound just a little bit busy. Just a bit.
I know.
Now, do you have children yourself?
I do. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Do they help you with this? They must love helping you with the Halloween stuff too, don't they?
They do. So my 10-year-old this year for Inclusive Halloween declared that he is not going to participate in getting candy, that he wants to be a volunteer. Aww. So he ran a station this year with my dad and my brother-in-law. And my 7-year-old declared that she was going to get all the candy this year. So she collected all the candy. And then also this year for Officer Friendly Day, my 10-year-old said that he wants to volunteer. So
oh my gosh.
He's going to volunteer with one of our professors and run our block table.
I love it. He might end up wanting to be a police officer himself one day. You never know what that might instill in somebody.
Right. I think that is a good guess.
Yeah. Well, that would be great. Well, Melissa, I thank you so much. We are going to have you back. And who's the young lady who's going to join you?
Yeah, Laura Martin. She's the program manager for K-12 partnerships at the University of Michigan Flint.
I know she was going to be on today, but her son got ill. So she's going, yeah, I know. I feel bad about that. But once they get feeling better, come back on, talk about that Halloween, great inclusive Halloween. But mark your calendars, guys. It's Saturday, April 26th.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm sorry I cut you off. I thought you were saying the date for Inclusive Halloween.
Nope.
And I was going to say it's on a Friday. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Saturday, April 26th. Mark your calendars for the first one. We'll be back to talk about the Halloween a little later on.
Okay. Thanks, Stephanie and Jay. I appreciate both of you so much.
Absolutely.
You bet. We appreciate you too. Thank you for being on. Thank you for listening. Listen every week. It's On the Road with the MTA, and we bring you wonderful things like this today. Free stuff, free food, whatever you might need. Every week is something different. So thanks for listening.
You've been listening to On the Road with the MTA. For more information on our services and community outreach, visit us online anytime at www.mtaflint.org. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The MTA, your community, your connection, your way.